Wakey wakey on this lazy Sunday. We're in for a very big week. This is the calm before the storm, not only, I guess, on the macro level, but also within the Cosmos ecosystem. We're going to witness the launch of IBC Eureka, or IBC V2, that is going to be a game changer for the Cosmos Hub and Atom specifically, because for the first time ever, it will fix the problem that Atom does not accrue value from the success of IBC. With IBC Eureka, this will change, and this will be the case, which makes the Cosmos Hub effectively an interoperability router. You already know from David, the founder of Babylon, as I showed you in the last video, that Babylon will actually be one of the launch partners and first customers of IBC Eureka. So it will be interesting to see what other chains they can launch. I think Dydx, Nillion are quite likely, and a lot more that already have ongoing economic activity. Price-wise, we're down over the weekend and still on very low levels. The only outlier here really is Mantra that's been in its own bull run for the past year and a half. Similar how Chainlink was in its own bull run, if you remember, back in 2019, 2020. So Mantra playing in its own league, but everyone else is still down very bad. TIA below $3. To be honest, I did not think we'll see sub $3 TIA again. And we're also seeing sub $10 Injective, sub 20 cent, Say Network, sub 60 cents, Dydx, and the list goes on. Akash AKT just above $1, Osmosis 23 cents. Those are all crazy prices and huge discounts across the board, which gives people time to accumulate. But I also understand that we are in a phase where people are just not believing anymore. They stopped believing, they stopped engaging in crypto, they take their chips off the table, they leave the industry for good. And those that are still standing will see massive leverage effects whenever the next leg up, the next bullish phase kicks in. And two of the things that I can share from the YouTube backend is that number one, yes, viewership has gone down compared to around a year ago. Number two, that there are still a lot of silent bulls, I like to call them. People that are positive, that are still in the game, that are still doing their homework, they're still very active and have all their bags deployed and keep buying the dips, but they're not very vocal about it. But you can still see that based on the like ratio, a lot of people are still actually positive. But when I read some of the comments, many of them are actually more on the survival mode and surrendering side of things. So a lot of people are just frustrated and tired and exhausted, which I also fully understand. But I really want to hear also from those guys that are actually liking the videos but are barely commenting. I want to hear from you. What are your actual views? And also, I want you to share advice to those that are maybe the ones that are just overly exhausted and are just about to basically surrender and give in and just exit this industry for good. Because right now, I truly believe that we are in a market phase that really separates the long-term believers from the short-term profit chasers. And I want to convert as many profit chasers as possible into long-term believers, because I really think that long-term we are going to win. And we don't know how long it will take, but I'm quite confident that we are going to win. And me personally, I'm all in on this. I'm fully committed not only to crypto, but also specifically to Cosmos, which is where I am specialized on, and my team at the Cito Zone, Stakecito, and also at Cosmoverse. We are true cosmonauts through and through, and we really believe in the long-term success of the Cosmos ecosystem, Comet BFT, IBC, the idea of sovereignty, interoperability, and the app chain thesis. And if you're in that same camp and you watch these videos and you like these videos, then I want to hear from you in the comments, your views and thoughts about the state of the market. Well, ever since the Interchain Foundation acquired Skip Protocol and renamed it into Interchain Labs, which is now the operational arm of Cosmos basically, and the ICF, which means fresh new leadership, young ambitious guys that are well respected by the industry, that not only took over the Cosmos stack development, but also the Cosmos Hub development and Atom development, which is why we're now seeing renewed excitement around the Cosmos Hub. And pairing this with the fact that we still have decent double-digit APR, an increase in the bonded ratio, which was something I was concerned prior to the acquisition or around the acquisition. I was like, someone is massively unbonding atoms, and the bonded ratio was just in an absolute free fall. I think it went as low as 55 point something percent. Now we're back at 58, and we're seeing relative strength not only when it comes to the price, again, still at very, very low levels, nothing to really cheer and celebrate and brag about, but we are seeing relative strength of the Cosmos Hub, and that is being backed by multiple on-chain data points. But we're also seeing a lot of things that are cooking. Well, one of the obvious things is, of course, IBC Eureka that is about to launch. Another one is the tokenomics side of things of Atom. And I want you to listen to this short clip from Mark from our recent Cito Plus AMA that we hosted.
So with every token, there's two sides, right? There's supply and there's demand. You can mess with the supply and you can mess with the demand, right? And at any single day, whether Atom goes up or not, just means if did more people buy the token than sell it or vice versa, right? Like on a day-by-day basis. It's a very simple situation, right? And I think people focus too much on the supply side, right? Okay, we should reduce the inflation to 2%, or we should cap the supply at 500 mil Atom or a bill Atom or whatever, or we should institute there's like so many things like around this, right? Like ways of sort of like reducing or changing how much supply gets into the market. That's actually not really the issue, in my opinion. The issue is the demand side. Who's buying the token, right? Who wants the token? Like you can bring the emissions to zero if no one's buying it, and none of it matters, right? And so that's really where we're focused, right? It's on the demand side. So everything we do, everything that we have planned is designed to increase the demand for the token. Eureka is a big example for that, right? So Eureka, the way that it works is no matter where it charges fees, even if those fees are in ETH or something else, those get swapped into Atom, so buys it off the open market and burns it. It is our hope in the future. And so you now have like a structural demand sink for Atom that you can track, right? Look, $200,000 worth of Atom was purchased just structurally day by day, every single day. And so you meaningfully offset any of the sort of structural sell pressure. And then like you hope that on more days than not, more Atom is bought than sold, right? And that increases the price. And I think that comes before any kind of massive changing in supply, because all of those changes carry huge risks, right? If you reduce the inflation rate of Atom or the yield on Atom, the staking yield, then you don't get all the free marketing that Atom gets on Binance, on Coinbase, on Kraken, on KuCoin, right? Where they say, stake Atom with us because you get 14% yield. It's like a big banner at the top, right? Binance just did this for 6 months. Like they're marketing it because they're getting some of that yield because they run a validator, right? You lose all that when you get rid of the staking yield. And you lose like one of the main reasons that people liked holding Atom, which was that it was a yielding token. And so you need to do these things carefully, and you can't just like snap your fingers, because you risk like causing a huge sell-off, right? And like a massive decrease in like the bonding ratio. But it's much safer and puts you in a much more powerful position is increasing the demand side.
And keep in mind that these guys are only 3 months in and they're just getting started, with IBC Eureka only being the first step. And the next step after that will be to deploy a permissionless virtual machine for native smart contracts on the Cosmos Hub, which in combination with IBC Eureka will unleash a lot of potentials for the Atom economy. I think previously conversations have always been around deploying permissionless CosmWasm smart contracts, but now with the acquisition or basically open sourcing of FMOS, which is now renamed into the Cosmos EVM, I think it's obviously on the table that the Cosmos EVM will be deployed on the Cosmos Hub for permissionless Solidity, aka EVM smart contracts. Noam, who is a must follow if you are an Atom holder, the Cosmos Hub product manager at Interchain Labs, also shared that the Cosmos Hub can be your distribution partner. Instead of deploying on 150 plus chains, you can simply deploy on the hub and offer your services over IBC, making the hub a true interoperability router and interchain service provider. It is also calling for builders, developers, and just projects to also reach out to them, and they will support with the onboarding. And some people have also commented here, like Ritik, for example, CosmWasm Dev here, would like to know how to get in touch. And this is something so refreshing that we've never seen before, that the ICF, or ICL in that case, is taking full accountability and taking the fate of Atom into their own hands. So that is really, really amazing to see. And I think Atom is going to do really well. Like they say on Twitter, Atom is looking very good here. And I'm very, very bullish on that. Well, there are now more and more proposals dropping. And to me personally, I would love to see, prior to these proposals going onto the forum, which obviously this is a decentralized network and governed by the community, I fully understand that. I think especially now in this phase of new leadership in play that are working out a cohesive roadmap for the Cosmos Hub and Atom, I think it is important to coordinate those ideas in advance. And it seems like this proposal that was dropped by the Noble team was not fully coordinated or aligned with the Interchain Labs team, but that's not a big deal. What is a big deal though is that Noble is showing clear interest to have economic relations with the Cosmos Hub and Atom, which is, at least in the first step, a recognition that a Cosmos Hub has something cooking, right? It has something that Noble wants to align with. Well, now in detail, obviously, you can talk about how this exactly looks like and what the timeline for something like that would be. What Noble did is they dropped a proposal to establish an Atom value accrual mechanism by implementing a buy and burn or something similar for USDN yield, which is the native stablecoin of Noble, called Noble Dollar, for USDN that is being held on the Cosmos Hub. That would, and this is a quote from the proposal, bring increased liquidity, growing application activity, and large value accrual to Atom stakeholders. Now you can read the full proposal here. I will leave a link below this video, and I also want you to share your feedback below this proposal. Mag has already shared his comments as well, and the consent from ICL, from Interchain Lab side, seems to be that this proposal is coming a bit too early, because right now they are fully focused on the rollout of IBC Eureka, and after that, I guess, to build out a permissionless virtual machine, permissionless smart contract ecosystem with its new dApp economy and developer activity. And I think around that time is when they really want to have those conversations and have a better picture of how that would all fit together. But I also understand from Noble's side, which I think this proposal was either shared by Zaki, who's been an early contributor to Noble, or Yelena, not sure who posted that proposal, but yeah, they are seemingly seeing this as a true Atom alignment for Noble. And my personal view as well, in addition to what I said before, is that the Cosmos Hub should probably take those proposals very, very seriously, because I have a little PTSD from back in the day when the Osmosis team in the early days came out with a proposal, I think it was 54, 55, about deploying Atom liquidity on the Osmosis DEX to fully align Atom and Osmosis, and that proposal failed, which I think gave the Osmosis core team a little bit of a wrong signal maybe from the Atom community that they would not want to fully align with Osmosis. And well, you know how the relationship is nowadays between Atom and Osmosis. I think it's a friendly coexistence with some new ideas popping up here and there, but there's no 100% full clear alignment. For example, I also remember in the very early days, even before Osmosis launched, there was a blog post that was basically saying that Osmosis would transition into becoming an Atom secured chain once Interchain security went live. Well, that never happened, at least the transition. ICS launched, but Osmosis did not migrate and continues to be its own standalone app chain until this date. A similar thing was also supposed to happen for Noble. We don't really know yet where Noble itself is going. Maybe they become a BSN and also source security from Bitcoin. Maybe they also just focus on becoming and staying their own app chain with the rollout of the Noble native coin that is eventually going to come. And there's also an ongoing point system where you can farm Noble points, but that's a different thing. Well, I want you to read this proposal. I want you to give your feedback below it, what you think about this specific proposal and also the timing of it, because there seems to be some, concerns around the timing of that proposal and not too much about the content. But yeah, that's just that. Carter, the founder of Shade Protocol and core contributor to Atom for many years, also opening speaker for the Atom track last year at Cosmos, says Atom has no ceiling. Cosmos descended into haze between 2022 and 2024 with baggage of negativity, tribalism, and chaos, and it's now ascending. How I call it, the resurrection miracle. You can call it whatever you want, but what we're seeing now is a restored faith, belief, and vibes from the Cosmos Hub community and Atom also as an asset around this new leadership. And I think this is very, very good to see. And also a strong technical roadmap. Well, part of this is also, as I mentioned, the integration with Babylon, and Babylon also becoming a customer of IBC Eureka. And the interview that I did with David, the founder of Babylon, is dropping here tomorrow. It's a very short 25-minute interview, but we cover all of those above here. Bitcoin secured networks, talk about the Osmosis proposal, and also Babylon's go-to-market strategy and the Babylon Genesis launch, and with also lessons learned from Eigenlayer, because Eigenlayer was one of the most hyped projects when it comes to, one of the biggest launches. But then I think ever since they launched their token, it's been a little bit dwindling down in terms of people speaking about it, being hyped about it. And they also did not manage to, attract a lot of economic activity that would be secured by restaked ETH through Eigenlayer. So we're going to see how that differentiates, but I think there is a huge difference between Babylon and Eigenlayer. The first one being is the underlying asset around which the project is built on. For Babylon, that's Bitcoin. For Eigenlayer, that's ETH. And second, also, the focus in what type of teams and applications or networks they want to attract. So for Babylon, they will be able to attract a lot of projects that do have existing economic activity. And that's where Osmosis comes in, and also other projects. One of which could be, for example, Union, that is also about to launch their mainnet. And Union founder Carol is saying that Union is the endgame for interoperability, BTC the endgame of assets, and Babylon the endgame of security. Might also indicate that Union becomes a BSN and also fully Bitcoin secured. Now also that IBC Eureka is launching, I think there will be some sort of competition in the interoperability game, maybe also some sort of synergies, but we'll see where this is leading towards to with Union, Axelar, Cosmos Hub now with IBC Eureka, and we also have Picasso Network that was actually previously led by Carol, who's been the ex-CTO at Picasso Network, and then went off to start Union after I had some kind of disputes at Picasso Network from back in the days. But Picasso, I also saw some people were asking about it. Number one, I have revoked my advisory. I'm not an advisor there anymore because someone has written that, but that is not true anymore. And I've shared that publicly before, I think a couple of weeks ago here on the channel. And with that, obviously sent back all my tokens, including accrued staking rewards, but I'm still on good terms and I wish them all the best, of course. And the same counts for the other advisories that I had with Quasar and Kinetics that also offered me and onboarded me as advisors. I have never received any tokens from both of these teams, so there was no tokens to be sent back, but I did revoke my advisories simply because it is a direction that did not fully align with my kind of thoughts around where I want to go. And we did double down on the Cito zone instead and other things. We also launched other services and products, but more on that later. Now, Union also has an ongoing campaign where you can earn these XP points and you have to complete missions. I did a couple of them, not that many, but yeah, it's something I've been doing on the side, but definitely something for you to check out because this might eventually translate into an airdrop as well. Speaking of airdrops, which is also the main topic for today, because there's a couple of things that you need to be doing. There is now the 10th vault for Saga, the 11th airdrop already, the 10th vault, and the first vault that also now rewards liquidity depositors now that the liquidity integration layer for Saga has launched. And you can come to the claim portal as always, connect your Kepler wallet and see which tier you are eligible for. This airdrop still includes a staker's allocation as well. So you will also be eligible if you staked more than 15 Saga. If you've been staking your previous airdrop amounts, then you are going to be eligible for even more Saga tokens. And if you are a liquidity depositor on top of that, then you'll also get even more rewards here. And note also that there's a accident forgiveness. So if you forgot to stake your airdrop amount prior to the snapshot for the next airdrop, then there is a way how you can get back into the game by simply staking 100% of the airdrop from the previous vault after the snapshot already occurred. And also Vault 10 features rewards for ambassadors for Saga. Then we also have Arkeo, which is something we've been talking about here for many years on the channel. And also in the last video, I did remind you to check your Arkeo airdrop allocation. Then, of course, the Babylon airdrop, check your baby airdrop allocation to see if you're eligible for that one. Next, Initia, you can also check your eligibility right here, right now. And by the way, we also just dropped a full Initia project overview on our free Cito report that you can subscribe freely to on Substack. And if you wonder how the Cito report looks like, then this is an example here. This is the email that you'll be getting. You can also just see this on Substack. And in this recent report, we shared absolutely everything about Initia, how the chain looks like, what makes it so unique, the interwoven rollup ecosystem on Initia, and also the vested interest program, VIP program, where you can also earn in it tokens and the entire ecosystem, which also includes MilkyWay that started off as a liquid staking provider on Osmosis, then migrated as an Initia rollup and now actually launched their own layer 1 blockchain. And the Milk token launch, TGE, is also around the corner, I think also just weeks away. And if you've been using MilkyWay and restaked or liquid staked on MilkyWay like we've been showing here months ago, then you might be eligible for the Milk token airdrop as well. The snapshot was already taken. Join over 1,000 subscribers on the Cito report. Again, it's free to subscribe here, and you'll get those emails sent to your inbox right away. Another promising project that is about to launch is Eclipse, that is going to deploy as an Ethereum L2 using the Solana virtual machine, and that is literally just weeks away from launching. And with it also, the Turbo Tap game is going to end. I think for that one, we're actually days away from a snapshot to be taken. And yeah, I've been doing this a lot over the past couple of months. I did lose a lot of rankings in recent days because I've been quite inactive. But yeah, I'm going to try to stay at least in the top 1,000 here on the overall rank, and the top 500. Try to re-enter that on the Tapper rank. But yeah, let me know what your Tapper score is on Turbo Tap. Very excited to see where this thing lands, and also what the tokenomics will be, and also a potential airdrop checker that will come very, very soon. Well, final one that I want to share is the Hyper airdrop. Hyperlane is also dropping their token, and you can now register your address, which you have to do until April 14th, and then it will be a 2-week claiming window that you also have to be very alert on. So you can do that either by watching these videos and just also taking full accountability, or you simply become a Cito Plus member, which means we are reminding you over and over again to claim those airdrops, to do the right steps. We send you links, we send you tutorials, walkthroughs, to make sure that you do not miss out on those things ever again, because sometimes it can be quite a decent amount. And that's not all, but we're also lending exclusive whitelist slots or airdrop allocations for all Cito Plus members. So everyone that's in the group right now, just reading also from the feedback, is very, very happy. Not only because we're also basically like a customer service, but also because we do lend these exclusive airdrops, and I think this is something the community really appreciates. So currently we have around 60 members, many of which got into Cito Plus during the pilot round that we had in December of last year. And right now you can join Cito Plus at $39 a month to get all of this alpha and also private access to our community. Anyways, that's all for today. I hope you learned something and you also have a relaxed and chilled Sunday. I'll see you here very soon on Crypto Cito and also hopefully on Cito Plus. Until then, stay safe and be good.